Ladies and gentlemen, I'm so very grateful for my Jamaican education. This has enabled me to complete my doctoral studies at the University of the West Indies and subsequently to publish a number of books, including this book, The Governance Public Debt Nexus, 1962 to the 21st Century, a case study of Jamaica with Barbados and Singapore as comparators. I will be sharing snippets of the book over the next 6 months on a daily basis. And so I introduce you by presenting the table of contents, which you can see in this slide, list of figures so that you can understand the content that you can find within the book, should you so choose to purchase it on Amazon. We also present you with all the figures that are outlined, as well as the list of tables. It is very useful when you are providing data to provide this in tabular form. It aids ease of understanding, and so we present a list of tables. We also provide you with abbreviations and acronyms. Forward by Professor Anthony Clayton.
Forward. Colette Smith was one of my most brilliant students. She undertook a detailed study of one of the most important questions in economics. Why are some nations rich and others poor? And what can we do about it? In recent decades, a number of formerly poor nations have become rich. In 1950, the average income in Taiwan was about the same as in Sierra Leone and the Democratic Republic of Congo. But Taiwan is now very wealthy while Sierra Leone and the Democratic Republic of Congo have remained poor. What do poor countries need to do in order to prosper? Many of the studies in this area have focused on the reasons why countries don't make progress. Most agree that unreliable electricity supplies, bad roads, inadequate ports and poor telecommunications certainly cause problems, but these can be solved with well-managed investment in infrastructure. Violence and corruption, however, can be fatal, and condemn a country to decades of failure, and many of the poorest countries in the world are also among the most oppressive, violent and corrupt. There are a number of studies of countries that overcame their limitations and went on to prosper. There are relatively few examples, however, of countries that appeared set to prosper, made what appeared to be appropriate investments, and then collapsed into long-running economic underperformance. These examples are particularly important, as they can tell us much about the factors that are essential to national development and prosperity. Colette looked at one of the most remarkable examples of lost prosperity. Jamaica was one of the most rapidly developing countries in the world at the time of independence in 1962, and its stellar economic growth rate continued for about 10 years after independence, when it collapsed into a series of debilitating recessions. Today, Jamaica has had nearly 50 years of anemic growth. Its economy is a small fraction of the size it should have been, and it has become one of the most murderous nations in the world, with a homicide rate higher than in most war zones. This appears to be a paradox. Most of the countries that have become rich have moved up into high-value exports of goods and services. They have invested in human capital, and raised productivity. In most, but not all, cases, these countries also have strong institutions, efficient government, the rule of law and some measure of political freedom. Jamaica has achieved many of these things. The country now has some good roads and ports, universal education, excellent telecommunications, a free press, 2 independent political parties who stand in fair elections, an increasingly effective police service and an active anti-corruption agency. So why has Jamaica failed to escape from its long-running pattern of weak growth, high debt, low productivity and intractable social problems? Colette collected an extraordinary volume of data, including many first-hand interviews, trawled the archives extensively, created a detailed delineation of key macroeconomic and related policy decisions and linked them to subsequent events. This study revealed, in meticulous detail, the role that flaws in Jamaica's politics and governance contributed to its decline, and the extent to which vital macroeconomic policy decisions and investment strategies were influenced by short-term politics and corruption. The culture of patronage and corruption that was established in the 1970s and 1980s has become so interwoven in the system of national and local government that it has been almost impossible to eradicate. Even the substantial progress made in other areas has been insufficient to overcome the harm done by this largely invisible distortion of economic decision-making. This has shown that nations like Jamaica have to overcome their own deep internal problems with governance in order to escape from the destructive cycle of weak growth, high debt and corrosive social consequences. This is an extraordinarily useful insight. It is highly relevant for a number of other developing countries in similar positions, and it has profound implications for Jamaica's Professor Anthony Clayton, PhD, OD Alcan Chair Professor Institute of Sustainable Development University of the West Indies, Mona.
Acknowledgements. This book is a labor of love for my country and people. It is also a gift to heads of government, leaders of opposition, permanent secretaries, and other political leaders and their teams globally. It is the culmination of a revised version of my doctoral thesis, prepared and defended at the University of the West Indies Mona campus in Kingston, Jamaica. My first statement of profound thanks goes to Professor Anthony Clayton, the hardest working, most professional, competent academic I have ever met. Though he has guided government policies in several jurisdictions and consulted on key areas relating to crime, governance, and sustainable development, he still found the time to guide us meticulously throughout the entire research process. For this, I am grateful. His regularly scheduled cohort meetings allowed us to widen our knowledge base in several areas of research being conducted by other candidates. This will redound to the benefit of the entire Caribbean region and other areas globally where our graduates will no doubt contribute significantly to development, economic growth, and higher levels of integrity within their respective institutions. I'm also very grateful to my family for their patience, encouragement, and support throughout the process, years of conducting this research, and the many months spent traveling all over the island of Jamaica to conduct surveys and interviews. This book would not be a reality if, during my years of conducting the research forming the foundation for this publication, I did not also have the support and encouragement of others, including respondents, former and current prime ministers, ministers of finance, financial secretaries, central bank governors of Jamaica and Barbados, members of parliament, heads of government, elites, executives and technocrats, and Jamaicans surveyed island-wide. The staff of the Library, Document Center of Parliament at Gordon House in Kingston, Jamaica, the faculty and staff of the Sir Arthur Lewis Institute of Social and Economic Research, UWMONA, faculty and staff of the Institute of Sustainable Development, UWMONA, the staff of the Office of Graduate Studies and Research, UWMONA, the staff of the Main Library, UWMONA, members of the 2009 to 2015 PhD cohort, Institute of Sustainable Development, the University of the West Indies, Mona. This publication has been made possible because you cared enough to extend your support when it was desperately needed. You are all amazing. Thank you, Colette. I'll be sharing snippets of the book from beginning to end on a daily basis for the next 6 months. Thank you for tuning in. Have a wonderful day.